All right. Hello, Race Brain Podcast. My name is Rich Ryan, joined by Jack Bauer and Bracken Crocker today. Full load of whole bunch of topics to talk about. We're going to talk about Hyrox Anaheim Last Chance Qualifier. We're going to talk about Big Bear. We're going to review some of our fantasy results. Haven't done that yet, but we're going to. We're going to talk about Myers. Going to talk about Jack's race. BK, how are things going on the track? How's the karting going? Oh, and you had a birthday.
I was going to say more importantly, how was his birthday?
Wow.
More importantly, in your intro notes, did you have full load, big load written down there? Or is that where you just read it?
That's just straight off the dome, man. That's just how I'm thinking.
This is stuff you're getting with this podcast. High level riffing. Track's good. Braden's moving up in the world fast.
Let's talk about your birthday. I like that you and Lisa had a joint post about, but it said like happy birthday to my favorite person, and it's like a post from you, like you're wishing yourself happy birthday.
It was interesting.
As though you are the favorite
collaboration.
person.
She offered me to collaborate on it, and I said I don't exactly know what this means, but I'm in.
And then
we know what it means.
Your post as happy birthday to my favorite person, who is me.
Yeah, I might have to take that under advisement. As you guys know, I take my social media game very seriously. Like Rich's intros.
Different levels.
we don't mess around with this stuff.
You're on a whole different level.
Yeah.
So let's start. We're gonna start with Hyrox, even though we talk about OCR sometimes. We're talking about Hyrox to start this thing out. So
Rich, I got a quick question for you. Sounds like your voice is a little loud. Are you feeling beat up from the weekend, or just talking a lot?
A lot of talking. A lot of talking for sure. Had maybe some allergy situation going on, but yeah, I was screaming at the wall balls. We can get into it a little bit, the way that the course was set up, but they want these stands around the wall balls, right? That's like kind of what I think they're even trying to call it like Thunderdome. New Mad Max coming out this weekend. Who's excited?
I liked Fury Road.
Fury Road was
awesome.
Hates
I can't
it. I
help
love
but
it.
think it's going to be disappointing.
Lots of CGI. I think this one's all CGI. The last one
it looks like 300.
A little bit.
Like
where the last
fake,
one,
surreal, maybe.
Fury Road was like the last movie that had all real. It wasn't all real, but mostly real stunts. They were like building those vehicles.
They had the
crashing
guy
those
playing a guitar with flames.
Oh,
in
the
front of a truck. Like that was
Doof Warrior.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Love that.
I saw that in theaters, and that was probably the last time I saw something in theaters and just left thinking, I'm really glad I came to the theater.
Is Braden old enough to see that?
Yeah, I think so. Like he's in that weird age where we treat him like an adult, but he's not.
Yeah, yes.
Like, so we watched the F1 show with him, and it's just like constant F-bombs, and
the themes.
None of us talk like that, but
I don't know. I mean, there's nothing like the themes are a little intense, but he's a gearhead.
He's a gearhead.
He would probably get down with Fury Road, one of the best movies ever made.
Bracken, is it one of those things like it's okay for him to hear swearing now as long as he doesn't say it? Is he kind of in that age?
I mean, he goes to public school in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Right.
No, exactly.
Yeah. We can't protect him from anything, but he's not the kid you have to worry about either.
Yeah.
Like my dad was like, "Oh crap!" The other day, and Braden was like, "What'd you hear? Grandpa said." So like he's still straddling that world between little kid and adult.
Do you remember the first time you ever swore?
I just told this story to him.
No.
All right,
okay.
This is a good one.
Go.
Now, not the first time I ever swore, but the first time in public I ever said, I tried to swear at someone. I was a seventh grade basketball tournament, and I threw a pass away on the wing. The guy picked it off and went down, and I tried to run him down and block him. I got called for a foul. And I was really upset about it. And there were two kids in the doorway, like by the concession area, who were talking trash to me. And I tried to turn around and tell them, "Shut the fuck up." And my voice cracked. And so I was like, "Shut the fuck up." And they laughed even harder. And I just had to turn and walk back to the court. Seventh grade me.
Did you get teched?
Oh, that's brutal.
Did you get to tea on that one?
No, because nothing came out. It was
You didn't hear anything.
With my voice squeaking so bad. It was embarrassment on top of embarrassment.
I like that.
Yeah.
So
Universe told me you shouldn't be talking like that.
So Jack, to answer your question, we got ourselves diverted there. I was standing in the Thunderdome screaming, talking to people next to us. That's where it's loud, but also screaming at wall balls. So a lot of talking, a lot of screaming. Thunderdome.
That happened to me after DECA a couple weeks ago in Sacramento. I left that place and I'm like, I couldn't I couldn't talk for like a day and a half. It felt like that. You know how sometimes after a race you just kind of get that dry mouth, or it just doesn't feel good. That was what happened to me. I felt like I was Jeff on the mic all weekend screaming, and then I lost my voice.
So let's get in. So guys, I have a confession. So the race, Pelayo and I doubles, it was a record attempt.
Was it?
And we missed the chance to hype it up.
It was a world record attempt. It was.
I think you should have mentioned it then.
Should have put a post about it. Well,
Yeah.
but good thing we didn't, because we look stupid now by not getting it. So
What happened?
we just didn't run fast. We didn't go fast enough when we needed to go faster. I don't know. Like, I think it was really, really hard. It was much harder than open doubles.
Lighter weight. Yeah.
Even like in open doubles, it felt like we were just like carrying momentum, and it was like we're going, and it was positive. And this is like we got to a point where like we are just suffering and really kind of sitting in it. It felt more like pro, honestly, even though our stations were solid. If everything's like perfect, if we get a goofy course that has been producing these times that are 2 minutes fast, like we probably break the record. But I don't think Hunter and Sandy had a course that was ideal by any means. I think they did it in the UK, and those courses are usually crazy.
What was their finishing time? You guys were 50, 51.
50 something, yeah.
Yeah.
And they were 50 like 18.
Okay.
So really we kind of lost it. We lost about 25 seconds on the lunges to them and almost 30 seconds on wall balls. So it was right there. Like we didn't do a good job on wall balls. We like broke it twice, and like we just didn't have a straight. Like we were just hurting so hard that like neither of us really wanted to go there on the wall balls, and the lunges were just a little slow. They just kind of beat us on the stations on the back end. And like I said, if it's a perfect run course, which I'm sure they didn't have either, then like maybe we get it if it's a goofy course. But we just like kind of fell apart at the back for the
I bet
lunges
those
and wall balls.
sleds cost you a lot more in the long run than the open weight ones where it basically feels like you're pushing it on ice.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like our time was okay. We were still like 130 on the push to 253 on the pull, which I don't know if that's good. Let me see.
It sounds slow, right? For
Doesn't
new
sound that
sleds,
fast.
but
yeah.
is it?
I mean, it's flying, all things considered, if
Mhm.
you're looking at the solo race, but team race, I thought Bracken, you and I were like 130 or something. I thought
On the pull?
I thought maybe not. Maybe that was the push.
We were
that
about the
is-
same time.
So let's see. Hunter and oh my god, this captcha situation they got on this is just not great.
Gotta stop being a robot.
So yeah, overall, I just don't know. It was just hard. It was just hard, and I'm like trying to think about it in my head. I'm like disappointed that we didn't get the record because of the record attempt, but it was a good effort, and it got me to a place where I didn't want to go, and I had
You
to
glad you did
really-
it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
You need to feel that one more time before Worlds, and it's as hard as you go in practice, unless you are physically doing that. And you also had someone you're towing the start line at Worlds with Pelayo. So I think this was a really smart decision for you to go after it.
And we were running as fast as we could, right? Like the rock zone was about 4 minutes long, with us running really hard through it, and our Ks were between like our kilometers, quote unquote, were between like 3:16 and 3:12 for the ones that weren't like the outliers.
Nasty.
But it was definitely a little short. I mean, Luke was running like 3:25s to 3:30s for those, but
It's
the
like 10
rocks,
seconds short.
probably the rock zone was just insane. It was I was trying to think if there has been a more absurd rock zone than what I've in any Hyrox that I've run before, and I don't think so. The main issue is that the flow, it was within the rock zone, went both directions.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you'd have to run past the out to get to a station, and then sometimes you wouldn't run past the out. So when you'd leave a workout station, sometimes you'd go left, sometimes you'd go right. So like you have to come out and be like, and some of them were really, and sometimes you came in and went in and went left. Sometimes you went in and went right. It was just wacky. And I think they did that because they wanted the stands around the wall balls. Because this was the same venue that they had last year, but the layout was so much less
Could you have fixed it?
sensical.
Could you have gave them both? wall ball stands and a nice rock zone?
I haven't really thought about what is the barrier for that, like why they would need to change everything up because there was in the same place, but the direction was flipped from the previous year. And the in and out were just in like different spots. Like last year, it was like the one that would flow. You'd come in the bottom and leave the top. And this time it was like top and side.
Which direction were you running on the loop?
We were going clockwise.
Okay, because that's what we had in Chicago. Because sometimes they're clockwise, sometimes they're counterclockwise. It's so frustrating why it's never consistent.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
Well, just blanket statement to fix it. They like the long run into the wall balls. If you make the wall balls the short turn right to the right, let's just call it, and it's just there, everything else can happen on the other side of it, and then you don't run into the congestion. You can have your bleachers on one side of it. You can turn right into it. But making it the longest run, which is what they typically like, I think it's like that tunnel effect. They want it building as they get there. I think that's the big hurdle. It's hard to have that be long and the other two make sense.
Yeah, I don't
know. If that makes sense what I'm saying.
I don't know.
I think you just need a cookie cutter type plan. You're like, here are dimensions, and maybe you can find a way to move and shift the pieces around, but it definitely is venue specific to make it work.
So it looks like they did put a chunk of time on. They were 2:29 on their poll. So yeah, 20 some seconds there. They were 2:08 on lunges. We were 2:25, and then they were 3:13 on wall balls, and we were 3:40. So between those three, we took about a minute and 20 seconds from them on the runs with the rock zone. So yeah, they just were faster on stations. Sometimes it comes down to that in Hyrox.
Those splits right there for the wall balls still just kind of blow my mind. Why in the women's race you're seeing some athletes they're 3.0s, and you had Hunter and Michael Sandbach 3:13 splitting it up and doing part work throughout the time, and you and Plyo went 3:40. It's like that's absurd how some of them are able to do that.
Splitting it up is what makes it slower.
Oh, because you can't just have the other person come in and catch it. It has to physically touch her. Okay.
That's what happened to us. I came in there saying I was going to do 30, and then I did 50, and I started the race saying I was going to try to do 70, but then in that moment I was like, I'm going to do 30, dude. And but I got there and I did 50, and then and I thought my day was done, and then Palau did 30. And then I ran back out there with super sweaty hands and couldn't grab the ball, and got a couple no reps because I just wasn't hitting it. And with 2 breaks and some no reps, it's just, and 3:40. 3:40 is not good.
Well, and it's not to take anything away from the women's times because they do great. It's more about handicapping the men's times. When you talk about difference in height, you're talking about up to a 10th going down and a 10th going up. Gravity, and over the course of 100 reps, 2/10 per rep is going to add up to suddenly these splits. And maybe it's 3/4 of a 10th, but you're still talking 15 seconds over 100 reps at the same real cadence. You just have an extra 10th and a half going down and up. 100 reps just exacerbates minor little differences, and the height is a big one.
Do you normally use 3/4 of a 10th as your measurement base? But
listen, this is not a math show.
All right. I'm just saying, there's a goofy number right there.
Fine.
Check the show notes.
75 hundredths going down.
7,500. Okay, there we go.
75 hundredths going up.
Perfect.
Jack will give us all his favorite math podcasts in the show notes.
Yeah.
Make sure
I would have got called out for using some dumb number like that.
Yeah, it's expected of you.
Yeah,
no one expects math from me.
Yeah, we're just saying stuff.
Rich, how was that auto counter for the wall balls?
They seem to have used the sensor as the new target. I don't think it was counting our reps, but the judge was looking at that. I got a no rep for going over it because I didn't hit the target. Going over it. And I'm like, at first I was kind of that's, I knew that was a thing that they did. That wasn't the first time that came into my brain, because the women will get no reps for going over and hitting the men's target, right? But if they want accuracy to be part of their test, then fine, then it's a no rep.
Is that what it's? What if you pull the sled or push it an extra, half a foot? Do you get no rep there?
Not an accuracy station.
Has there ever Can we
throw.
think of a sport
Spear throw.
where
Spartan.
you throw something weighted for accuracy?
Savage Race.
Oh yeah,
A sport.
one time.
Savage Race isn't a sport. That's
I mean,
an obstacle.
technically, a
Like, just
football
our
has
sport,
weight
right?
to it. A
CrossFit.
baseball has weight to
CrossFit
it.
does that.
Something over 1 pound.
I mean,
Shot
like,
put.
That's not for accuracy.
Yeah,
gotta
you
be
have to
with,
get
gotta
it
be
within the
within.
lines.
Hammer
Yeah.
throw.
There's
Yep.
no precision needed.
Oh, there is.
General accuracy. You can have
Yeah.
a 20-yard spread at the top of your throw.
That's true. Yeah.
Is axe throwing a sport?
Yeah. Well,
As much
yeah.
as Savage Race
it's
is.
a sport.
Anyway, Bracken, your point.
The point is, I think it's dumb to care about accuracy. It's just like, of all the ways of introduced, I love that they're pushing the envelope. I really do. I like that they're striving for tighter judging, but we've just decided humans can't count. So we're going to make the rep dumber in order to make humans not count.
I think it's crazy that you're penalized for doing more work instead of the minimum amount. It's like, oh, well, you did a little bit extra. It's going to fatigue your body a little bit extra. But by the way, it doesn't count. I don't understand that. That would be like on your last burpee broad jump, you're like, I'm jumping 6 feet past the line. It's like, okay, well, that's stupid, but it still counts.
Not accuracy. I'm
Not
fine with it.
accuracy.
I mean, it's not like what you're both saying makes total sense. Like, you're doing more work. You're showing that you're capable of doing the work. It should be a rep. But if they want it to hit the little thing, then it's got to hit the little thing.
The only thing I'm saying is that the throw is never that question. It's the depth, right? Yeah. It's obvious if you don't make the target. I'd rather have something that clicks on depth than clicks when you hit the height. Like, we can see height. Everyone on the planet who has no visual impairment can see height. It's depth that we care about. We're focusing on the wrong end of the problem, but I'm still glad they're focusing on something. It's just the wrong end.
And I'm not sure how that target counter works. Like, it's a sensor, right? So does the sensor need to be completely covered, or does it just need to be partially covered? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And I think when my judge, who it was fair, like, I was getting no reps that I wasn't touching target. Like I said, I was so sweaty a couple times that the ball just kind of slipped out of my hands. But I don't know if they're going to use that target, like how much it needs to actually cover for it to register.
Is it a light sensor, like it gets blocked, or is it it feels force going against it? And
I'm thinking it's a light.
Okay.
So
that'll probably be a little bit easier to make sure there are fewer errors.
So you would imagine it need to be covered in full if it's a light sensor.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. I'd have to look at how it's set up, but I think a light sensor would be easier because it's like always emitting light, and then as soon as that light doesn't it's blocked, now you know that it's not or it is a rep because it's covered.
It just senses change in brightness theoretically, which if we're going to do that, then we should just have a laser beam that if it gets crossed at all, it's a rep.
Exactly.
Instead of touching a point. Like, if we're doing light sensor, I assumed it was force based.
It was calibrated because you should need to press it, like, because if it's light and you just throw it up and it doesn't actually hit the target, it just crosses the target. That would be a no rep because it needs to hit.
Right.
What it looks like is a light one. I don't know. Because if it was force, wouldn't it be protruding, or would it? Does it matter? I don't know how
the target would push into it, I assume.
Yeah. Okay. Say the wall ball itself is like a foot wide or in diameter, and you just put it a foot above that minimum height. So that way, if any part of it touches it, now you know that you've hit the minimum height required to do on a wall ball height. I don't know. I'm sure they haven't figured out, honestly.
Light's probably cheaper.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
And that's just what it kind of looks like to me. I don't really.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude.
It's cool that they're doing something, though.
Don't throw it over it.
So you don't care. You got no rep by it. You're fine with it. Whatever. It is what it is.
Whatever.
It's no different than the rule book saying you must hit the center. It's on the center. Hit it, or you're not getting it.
Yep. And it's small, but it's still where you got to hit it. That'd be another thing if it was a bigger circle. Potentially that could be what it is. Maybe they make a target around the target to see an above. I don't know, dude. Whatever. So we did not break the record in our record attempt, but that's okay. It was fun, kind of. It was really hard, dude. It was really, really hard. What's that?
They didn't get rid of your old ones.
We still have to open.
Yeah.
We'll have that forever.
Yeah.
Well, and to be within 40 seconds of Hunter McIntyre, that's there are very few people on the planet that can do that.
Nah, I don't accept that.
You think a lot of people can do what you just did?
No, but
Or you just don't want to have
I've
Hunter get a compliment?
yes, the latter.
Okay.
It was because I thought that too. I was like, man, they're both good athletes, and I was like, but Belial and I are good athletes. Like we should be able to come close or break that record, and I think we can eventually. So
You saying though it felt like a pro means that it's more in his wheelhouse than yours.
for sure,
So that's great.
for sure. But
Take a compliment.
no, thanks for nothing. Let's talk about the last chance qualifier. So this was the first time the last chance qualifier has been on American soil. Second last chance qualifier of all time.
It's the last chance qualifier because the second to last one was not actually the last chance.
We should go back and see if they've changed the titles in the results to the second to last chance qualifier.
Yeah.
Just
all
so
that they were, it was like the Gainful Anaheim something. That was what was in the
It
results.
seems like they're selling sponsorships to the races
Yeah.
now, which I think is smart. I don't know.
And I'm going to counter you. Track and field, we always say, is there precedent? Last chance qualifier number 1, last chance qualifier number 2. That's the track and field world.
Right.
They're all last chance qualifiers.
Oh, I know. I just think it's a ridiculous naming convention.
I love it.
But the word last means it's
LCQ.
the final one. There's no more after this.
Tell that to anyone in a relationship. There's a lot of last chances out there for douchey guys.
We need to go over our fantasy results here.
Can I preface this?
What's that?
If you listen to the last episode,
Yes.
I have lost all credibility that was remaining.
You didn't do a good job?
No, essentially everything I said along the way was incorrect. Older athlete fading, they don't regain form.
Yeah.
Lucas goes out and wins. Like
Murders.
Across the board, I was wrong on everything I said. It was
the first time?
Historically bad. Usually I get something right on accident. This was historically bad.
For both races, for Spartan and Hyrox, or just the Hyrox one?
I mean, you couldn't get Spartan that wrong.
Right. You just
Hawk
picked
and
somebody and they
Eddie.
were in like the top 10. Oh, yeah, you picked Hawk. Oh, no. Jack picked Hawk.
I
Okay,
picked
yeah.
Hawk.
Right, but we knew Hawk was going to win by a lot.
And we
Yeah.
basically knew Annie was going to do the same. So I guess how do we want to do this? So let's talk about the women
I'll do a
first.
screen share.
You'll do screen share and we can write in the results. And this is kind of how we're going to talk about the results at first. And then we're going to dive a little bit deeper into each of the races. We'll take a look at the leaderboard feature that they have on the Hyrox website, because I don't believe that they have, I have not checked. Do they have the, what's it called out yet? They were supposed to cut something in post for these races like they did for the Cologne race. So
They do have the official results on Hyrox's website, not the leaderboard part, but within the normal results section. And can you enable screen share, by the way?
I can do anything I want to do. Okay.
All right.
And then now we know the full field, which is also exciting. So we get to speculate now for a couple weeks, and that's great. So that'll be fun.
Although, do we? Saw Mr. Willie Won't He? Ryland posted a doctor office reel, which to me is a breach of HIPAA, and I'm going to have my lawyers contact him shortly.
Class action.
But the
You're that
final
offended? Yeah.
the final sentence that on screen was, "I'll make a decision about Hyrox Worlds afterwards." So do we know?
I don't know. It seemed very wishy-washy, even on the other reel that he posted. Like, potentially, I might be thinking about not doing. So he might be thinking about not doing it. But
I got the sense he
may
was
do it.
really thinking about not doing it, and now he's really thinking about maybe thinking about doing it.
So we don't know.
Perhaps.
We don't know.
don't know.
We know the women,
With the
pending
and so
injury or sickness.
the
Not
precedent
Rebecca
that,
Mason, but although that rolled on happened. Yeah.
So the precedent is set, and we did receive an email from Hyrox explaining this, kind of putting it in writing, that whoever is, they will extend the roll down beyond the top 5, which they usually don't, right? But in these circumstances, if someone is dropped out of World Championships, the race in which they qualified at, it'll be like they did not exist in the results, and it will roll down one further. So,
Which I like.
That's how I would have done it, because it was head-to-head competition, and pretend that person's not there. Who's next?
I mean, kind of, man.
It's
I
better
don't
than
wouldn't have
time-based.
chose it.
Better
I
than
like
time
it.
based. Way better than time based. But like, if we're like, so who qualified on the women's end, right? It was Elena Villeneuve. She ran on the last chance qualifier in Cologne and finished 15th. Right. And the day that months ago, where she finished 6th. And listen, I thought Elena was going to finish 5th in that race. I believe I picked her there. She was having a really strong start of the season. And toward the back half, things started to kind of fade, either physically or her confidence, whatever it was. But there was 14 other athletes who were also trying to qualify for World Championships that beat her in the last race that they will all run before World Championships. So in terms of preparedness of the athlete, I don't know if it's the best way to do it. And the same will be said with Ryland if he pulls out. It's going to be the homie Dave Magida, who finished 9th in that race.
Here's the issue that you're bringing up, is that we didn't know the standard prior. The standard at the major was that there is money for each position and you want to finish well. Doesn't matter if you're not 3rd or 4th, 5th matters, 6th matters. People race all the way through. And the last chance, if you get dropped, there's no reason to stay on it. But now there is. And so we're judging people's performance. And I'm not saying this was her, but we're judging their performance off what we know now, but they didn't know that then.
That's
would
fair.
you have stayed on it if you were out in the last chance? Would you have stayed on it and pushed through the line thinking, hey, someone might get injured
not as
in
much
3
as
weeks?
But not as much as I potentially would have. Yeah.
At a major.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's kind of like in the track and field world though, where there's a reason you hold your Olympic trials in June when the Olympics themselves are in July. You want people fit at that moment. I know that the marathon's a little different. They have that in February, I think, because you just can't recover. You can't run 2 marathons, one in June and July, and expect to do well in both of them. But if we're looking at top end fitness, you definitely have a point, Rich, with that. But on the contrary, Bracken, I also agree with you. It's like, why go through that if the race is already done and you're definitely not getting that spot.
And I don't even think I'm arguing Rich. Rich is right. You want the fittest people at the championships, and she didn't show that.
Right.
She also didn't have to.
She didn't have to, but at the same time,
but she did earlier. Like,
right.
How many times have we seen, like, on the men's side, Jonathan Wynn, fantastic race this weekend, and he's had a bad showing before. Like, he didn't even finish one of the races before. Some days it's your day, and others it isn't. I mean, you can't just assume her whole season is just like that 15th place at a last chance, because she had really big peak at one point.
And that's the thing too, right? Like Rebecca Mason had suffered a setback, right? So she could have gone into that race, but would probably been the 30th most fit person in the world, but she still earned her a spot. So I understand why Elena would also get that spot, because you can't really know. And I guess that's an issue with having a season-long qualification system as opposed to being like 4 weeks before. Like, so we know everybody's fit. They have this big long thing, so we don't really even know how everybody's showing up. So that kind of takes. So that's what's a big bullet to my argument, is that we don't know how anybody's going to show up to this thing.
That's the thing. Hyrox is proving that it's unknowable. Like the top people with the best fitness, Meg, Lauren, Hunter, those type of athletes can be within a percentage range and be great. Everyone else, we have a really hard time telling, when's it going to click? Is it going to be 3 in a row, or is it going to take 9 before it clicks? And is it going to click for 3 in a row and then they're gone for a year? Like, for every Hunter, there's a Tobias. For every Lauren, there's an Alina. Like, it's too hard. I know we're talking heads about this, and Riches are running ahead, and I guess Jack is halfway there too as well. But like, we are having a hard time figuring out what anything ever means, because so much can go right or wrong.
Like, and chances are Alina in this race won't finish last.
No, she won't.
Right? Like, I wouldn't, like, maybe, but like, she potentially will finish in the mid pack, finish 7, 8, 9, 10.
I don't think we've ever had the last seed finish last at Worlds.
Nah, Rich definitely didn't, right?
Usually it's a top 10 seed finishes last. Someone cracks. That's it.
Yeah, right. Or someone's sick or hurt.
Even pregnancy is not a guarantee of last place for now.
Nope.
Like, Hyrox is a crapshoot. We have no clue.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of similarities with OCR, and like, now that Hyrox has been around with 6 seasons at this point. Before, it was like, okay, super predictable, but Yeah, I mean, how many times would you see someone in the national series finish 30th and the next time they finish third? It's like you just
Never.
don't know what's going to happen. Stuff like Josiah, he and Angel, they had terrible races in San Luis Obispo and then got podiums later that year.
I guess of obstacle failure, like
I think
Ryland
they were
finished
easy.
17th and won
No,
another.
Josiah was like 60th. He was
That's
real far
true.
back. Yeah.
All right, we ready for these results?
Anyway,
I'll do
yeah,
that one,
I will
Jack.
share my screen.
The Josiah was fair,
Nice.
Of course it was.
BK giving Jack.
but he
a
also
little
wasn't an
cred.
obstacle course racer.
Yeah,
Well,
doesn't
he
count.
got many good finishes. Anyway, Rich, look up the results and I'll type them in.
I got him. So on the women's side, just want to do the women's field first.
Yeah.
So on the women's side, Camilla Massa won the race outright, basically wire to wire. Really took the lead. She took the lead after Skierg and ended up running a 62:37, which is a great time there. Amy Bevilacqua from Connecticut, everyone's favorite 50-plus athlete, running 63:47. She said she's been doing wall balls in her sleep, dude. She's just been cranking them out. So she finished in 63:47.
So we're omitting Vivian, right?
Vivian does not count. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just make sure.
Vivian popped in a later heat and she finished in 62:53. So
Yep.
she's ready to roll as well. Maria
Camilla ascended. We've just been waiting for that statement race, and this was it.
took care of business, man. She really came in there.
Amy, I just wasn't seeing that her ceiling was this high. And we still haven't seen it now.
Crazy.
Well, seeing
I don't get it.
I got to watch a race this past weekend and also in DC, and she can run. She looks like the best runner in the field, and she, from a triathlon background, you'd imagine that strength might be an issue, but she's strong for sure.
Talk to
And she
Pelayo.
looks that
How's
part.
that?
Yeah,
How's that triathlon background?
right.
Not good enough to break a world record.
Not enough. Got to work on her.
I don't mean any disrespect here, but is she better at what she does at Hyrox than Heather Golnick at OCR? Because they're both kind of like your
Yes.
For sure.
50 plus. Yeah.
I like a lot.
Yeah, it's not close.
And Heather's got like 50 podiums and top 10 in national series finishes.
Heather's super consistent and races a lot, but she's never had a peak this high.
Maria Fetchik had an amazing wall ball to come from, I believe she went in there 6th and finished in 4th to earn her spot. And then Ancha Hardes was ended up closing that out for the
Did not
4th
get
and
picked.
final spot. Did not get picked. Wow. Good, nice job, Buzz. Simone Feld, I don't think she got picked either, did she?
Who?
Simone Feld.
No.
Tells
She
you what you
finished
need to
6th, another
know.
German athlete who was running well, but fell back at wall balls. Morgan Schulz ended up 7th. Lauren Mentala 8th. Katie Simonson 9th. Beatrice Ardelt was in 10th, another German athlete.
Not picked. We just
Amy-
didn't pick Germans.
We didn't
I-
pick Europeans.
No,
Yeah.
of course not. Why would we? Emmy Cross was 11th. Allison Outlaw was 12th.
Nope.
Kelsey, hold on. Hocklitter was in 13th. I'm sure that's not how it's. I'm sure that's an incorrect way of saying that. I've never seen that name before. That's a U.S.-based athlete running 70s. That's great. Stephanie Hillman ripped off like a 4-minute PR in 14th, running 70. Then Alexandra Shabo was 15th. Hannah Taylor 16th. Maddie Mansberger, who was Maddie Jones, right?
Is that okay?
I thought so. I'm not sure. And then Sydney Wells was 18th in 62. Katie Howell was 73, not 62, 72 for Sydney Wells, 73 for Katie Howell. Katie Duke was in 20th in 113. Who are we missing?
I don't think Petra Arvella ended up showing up.
I don't think so either.
And Jess Petro also.
Jess Petro also did not race.
Okay. That's everyone's covered.
Well, I crushed it.
Yeah.
How are we doing so far? I'm confused on where we're at.
Not great.
I've got them typed in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the women's. On the men's side, Lucas Storath ran a very impressive time, 56:18
Yeah.
on that course. It's
Rich
just
murdered
nasty.
us.
It's
Just
I
just
bad.
jumped off the bandwagon right as he popped.
We were
I
making
was the
fun of
one
you.
holding the train back.
That was the thing. That was the thing. The belief of BK does not always propel an athlete forward. John Wynn ended up taking that second spot in 57:12. Two very impressive performances. Sadiq El Fatouri ended up in third. Colin Stiefert fourth. Yannick Chapla in fifth. Isaac Sanderson
We didn't
seventh.
pick him. I think he
Major
showed up.
disrespect.
I was
Major
impressed.
I was also impressed. Like, because this is, I mean, his time in Berlin, which is 56 mid, he ran 59 mid, and like that's kind of where he has been. And he raced well, beat Isaac Sanderson.
I
right
just
behind
didn't think
Colin.
that a 59 mid would be fifth place in this race. That's the
You just get
the
a
thing
wonky
Yeah.
ass course with a 5-minute freaking rock zone. Even if the rock zone and the runs add up to the same, when you get into a rock zone, you have to turn 4 times.
Mhm.
It just slows you down. A hairpin every time you enter the freaking thing. Isaac Sanderson 7th. Samuel Hebert with an awesome debut, 59:41 in 8th.
Is that the fastest ever?
No.
Graham Holiday, maybe. No,
Hunter.
Hunter was
Hunter was
over
60
60
flat.
in Miami.
That's right.
Fastest debut ever. I know JK was under 60 for sure in his debut as well.
Okay.
Joffrey Voisin was 9th. Jake Williamson 10th. Eric Williams 11th. Grayson Kilgore finished 12th in a really solid time, 61:05 for his debut. The homie Marcus Wallace was 13th in 61:14. Who we missing?
Anas,
Yeah, last.
23.
Anas was 23rd.
And Harry Thompson.
Harry Thompson, I do not think finished.
I didn't see him in the results. I didn't see Kent in the results for the finish either. But
He also did not finish. Harry Thompson, I believe I said he'll be leading after sled push. I should get some points for that. Wow.
I'll give you a few of my points.
Look at that. What's that total?
I'm sorting it right now. Hold on.
Guys, I'm locked in. I don't even know why I play this game with you guys.
1 week.
I'm going to need to recruit somebody else.
1 week.
Someone else needs to kind of step up because I'm just locked
Bracken,
in.
this is despicable.
I took all the bad.
I didn't understand the assignment.
No, that's clear.
We know.
That's clear.
All right, we're doing top 5.
I was on Quaaludes that
believe so.
episode.
Bracken's not good.
Oh
Rich
my
with
God.
14.
You can't even score that in a regular cross country meet. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a butt kicking. I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but 1,
let's talk
1,
about Big
2,
Bear.
2.
This is
8.
dumb.
That's a
Yeah.
kicking in the pants.
Looks like I got 33 points. Bracken with an embarrassing 59.
Hey, I was on Team Swing for it.
Yeah, except you didn't go with your boy Lucas. who
Sometimes you're the hammer,
you-
sometimes you're the nail.
Yeah.
All nail this week.
All right, I'm gonna take over the screen share. Let's talk about the women's race a little bit more in some detail here. Again, they do
The
not
only thing that makes me
have-
feel better is that simple Jack icon that we have sitting there. That's the best part of my day every week.
Every
That's-
week.
That's how I look. That's just me. That's how I'm feeling right now after the beating you guys just gave.
Yeah.
So, like I mentioned, on the women's side,
Oh,
Camilla
look
really-
at that.
Can't take
Bracken,
my gold medal from me.
I'm changing that. We have to figure out Big Bear first, but it's not looking good. Rich moves into the lead, 4-2. I'm second, 3-3. Bracken, typical losing record.
You can say typical. I was winning last week.
Typical. Last year you were like 4-10 or something.
I don't live
We're
in the
used
past.
to you.
Only 1 week in the past.
All right.
So for those who may be listening for the first time, usually when we preview these big events, we will do fantasy drafts and where we go through and pick teams based off of the start list. I am historically the best, and this week,
Historically, my house.
Lead-
I won
Not
last
true.
year.
this week falls in line with the rest
Have
of
you won ever?
history. Don't worry about it, bro.
Yeah,
Who
when
won
has
last
Rich ever
year?
won
I
anything?
haven't lost one time.
Who won last year?
I did.
Who won the year
Yeah.
before?
You tell
You
us.
and Kirk.
Who won
Yeah,
the year
Rich
before that?
Rich blowing smoke. He didn't win anything.
I
That's
did
right.
not. I did not lose once.
Historically, the best who's never won.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Most
You're the
consistent.
best to never win one.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. All right. So on the women's end, like we mentioned, Camilla was super impressive. She just took it wire to wire. She started out and came out of Skierg with a 2-second lead, and then just started to really press the runs and kept things moving. Like I don't think she lost time anywhere. So yeah, this is a great outcome for her. And she should set in pretty well now at the World with this same kind of thing. She would probably be the 11th seed based off of when you qualified.
She's not finishing 11th.
No, I would pick her above that.
I think she's a top 5 threat right
for
now.
sure. Absolutely.
I'm just looking at this, and Vivian 25 seconds slower than Camilla. Camilla was moving.
Right, and because usually, I mean, with that first run, Viv probably took it easy, but Vivian's the best on the skier. She usually has the fastest split time on the skier, even in the Elite 15 heats. The sled pull got a little wonky. I mentioned this course being, I don't know what happened, because when we look here, so sled push out, it was Camilla, Morgan, and Amy Bevilacqua. When they went back into sled pull, let's omit Vivian on here. Amy just kind of caught up to Morgan and kind of came in together. But when they came out of sled pull, they're way down here. They got lost in the rock zone. So,
Is that what that was?
Yes.
Truly got lost?
Like a minute.
Yeah.
Maybe 40 seconds.
So sled pull in. Where are we? Yes, because they didn't go. So when they went into the rock zone, okay, here we go. They went into the rock zone. They were 35 seconds back from Camilla. When they got into the sled pull area, they were 115 and 116. Oh, wow. Yeah. So this is like.
Dang. It's a big deal.
How much time are we talking about then? 45 seconds?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God. And that's running. They're not on a chair sitting down. They ran all the way down. So again, I mentioned that this rock zone had, every time you'd leave a station, you would either have to go one direction or another, and like it wasn't always consistent. That was the same when you came in. There was two, I believe it was farmer's carry and sled pull, that you would come in and you didn't have to do the hairpin. So they must have come around the hairpin and started running down the rock zone looking for the sled pull entrance, where it was kind of right at the entrance that you came in. It was like you came in and you kind of veered left and then went into sled pull and then turned right to go all the way to the end of the sled pull lane. They must have turned right, did the hairpin, ran down into the rock zone before they realized that they weren't there. Man, 45 seconds.
That's a big deal at this point in the race.
In second and third. Dang, that's tough. Shoot. Yeah, I know. So Amy was able to rally through this, but I think that put a lot of time on Morgan.
Yeah.
And she was still in contention.
But if you move at that point, Morgan up 40 seconds or so, she's sitting in second place. Like, that's a different race that you run at that point.
She didn't move from this point on, right?
No, I don't believe so.
So by my math, she wouldn't have moved without it either.
You wouldn't think so.
She takes second. Congrats, Morgan.
Maybe third, because Amy was running a little bit faster and continued to run faster than her, because Amy caught everybody in this field.
Yeah. So what's the gap from her right on when it first happened? Gap was what?
Rocks in
115. What was it?
36
what was
seconds.
it? Okay, on the next one then.
The pull in?
Pull in.
After they got lost?
Yeah. So what is it to the next place finisher? 41 seconds from third place.
Anche was the last finisher.
Okay.
So
Morgan lost to her by a minute and 1.
And that was 40 seconds of it.
Yeah, I mean,
and then sled pull out.
That's still a greater margin, but it changes, being connected with the field at that point.
Yeah,
change it mindset. It's tough for one that's like based off place. That's hard. Like, and it's a different race when you're in the middle of it. then she got taken out of the race, and had to kind of re-engage back into it.
But
That
Amy
speaks
was
to
able to do
Amy.
it at the end of the day.
Amy was able to do it. It really does.
Oh,
It's race brain.
maybe.
Yeah, a little bit, but also
hopefully it wasn't volunteer.
Yeah.
no, I don't think so because they didn't really were pretty light on volunteers. Just dumb ass course setup, inconsistent courses like that make no sense. Why is the sled pull entrance not next to the sled push entrance? Like, why can they not just be in order? Like, why does it have to be this puzzle that you're looking at?
Yeah.
Like, how come you can't just be guided into every station the way that they should go? Why is like number 3 is up here, but number 6 is down here, number 5 is in between the two of them? It's just ridiculous because we need those stands. Need to have those stands, man. That's make or break. So bummed about that.
Yeah.
But Amy Bevilacqua really just kept it together. But by burpees, Camilla already had a minute and 13 lead.
That's insane. But she's going to need to go out at an aggressive pace like that if she wants to get top 5 at Worlds.
Yeah. Yeah. She's prepared to do that. And she's riding that momentum of like, okay, things are going well here,
All right, looks like you said a minute 13. Where go back to that.
Coming out of burpees, right? I was looking at Anche.
Oh, okay. I was like, then she must have fallen apart on the rower because it's under a minute at that point. But okay.
So I mean, she was
Oh, yeah.
113 ahead and coming out of burpees, lost time.
Yeah.
Lost time.
That's where it comes home.
20
Yeah.
something seconds. Yep.
Yeah. But I mean, a lot of times these races are kind of over at sled pull.
Yeah.
And like everyone's kind of going slow and you're either in contention or you're not. When it comes burpee broad jumps in the run after.
Yeah.
But what are some takeaways then? Anything else you guys want to see on this leaderboard situation? Let's look at the lunges in. Maria was 30 seconds back of Simone and a minute and 5 back from Anche. Then lunges out. Like even further.
32 seconds. Wow.
Yeah. So she just really,
She pulled a Joffrey and just, I'm getting you on those wall balls.
man, she was like a minute behind Anche.
Minute 20.
Oh my God. And 30 seconds back. That's 30. If like you are going unbroken on the first 30, it takes about a minute. She might be 30 wall balls back and ends up holding it together. I mean, that's why you got to fight, man. You got to hang in there in these races. She's a perfect example of why you do that.
But look what happened then. Look at the gap. She didn't just catch her. She put a minute 37 on her, which means Maria had to have just cratered.
Simone?
Sorry. Yeah, Simone.
Yeah. She was not having too much fun out there.
Oh,
I know.
I mean, that's what happens though, right? You go for it and you make it or you don't.
Yeah. Any other takeaways? What do we think?
I'm just blown away by Amy Bevilacqua.
Yeah. Seriously.
Blown away.
I want to look at her wall ball split really fast just to see what that looked like because I think she was closer to 6 minutes in DC. And I didn't get a chance to look and see where she was on here. Because that was the one thing that kind of kept her out of qualifying in DC. Yeah, she was 4:13. So I think she took a minute and a half off of that. Good for her. Putting in work.
Name a 50+ man on the planet that would have a chance at Elite 15. Can we come
No.
up with a candidate?
No. Not that we
Just
know of.
Outrageous.
Yeah. So good for her. Good pick by me. Always believed. So let's take a look at the World Championship qualifiers. What do you think? Shall we do that?
Let's do it.
Michelle.
Now that we have what we can assume is most of the field, unless there is some sort of setback. And this is ordered based off of their time where they qualified. I'm not sure if that's what they're going to do for the qualifications, or how they're going to do it. I saw another graphic somewhere else that had it in order of when they qualified. I don't know how they're going to do it. I just don't want to be the 15th seed. That's all I want. Let's not do that.
But didn't you do what? Or were you 14 that year?
No, I was
14 or
15.
15. You were 15.
I was 15th, and that's fine. So here we go on the women's field. We got Meg Jacoby, Michaela Norman, Lauren Weeks, Viola Oberlander, Camilla Massa, Vivian Tefudo, Zara Pergiani, Jana Liebenstead, Alina Vilnau, Amy Bevilacqua, Linda Meyer, Kate Davey, Lauren Griffith, Maria Fetchik, and Anche Hardes.
How is Lauren the 3rd seed? It's the dumbest leaderboard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So the real question, I think, is this a 2-person race or not? Is there someone of the contenders who has a chance to pick one of them off, or even just to go with them through burpees?
Through burpees? I don't believe so.
No,
I don't believe so. We haven't, like, when you look at this field and basically how almost all the majors played out, when there was someone else attached to one of the two, then Lauren or Meg did not have a good race. But if Lauren and Meg are both on, then it's a runaway 2-person field.
So you're basically asking, will there be a Belle McFarland this year?
Yeah. Is Michaela ready? Because I think Michaela can.
Yeah.
But is she ready? And is Viola or Camilla or Vivian or someone, are they
What about
are
Linda?
they willing and able? Linda
has been the closest this season.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she would probably be the third highest odds to finish in first, I believe. But Michaela would probably be the smart money, highest upside.
So are these
who knows,
declarations at this point, since we're not showing Rebecca Mason on here? I'm assuming that they took that into account.
Yes, looks like it. Yep.
Okay.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be
is.
exciting. Because now that, like, the middle of this field is where it's gonna be like, who gets like 4th through 15th?
Yeah.
Could be different outcome every single time they race.
If you're looking at this list, pretty much everybody has raced in the past month, I would say. Just looking at it.
Yeah.
So who beats their
Lauren
seed by the
maybe
most?
is the longest.
Are we
Is there
using these
anyone
as the
other than
seeds?
Linda? Who's the
Um,
highest climber, you think?
I mean, if
I'm not going to
Like-
tell you because I'm waiting for the draft.
like is Amy Bevilacqua, can she get top 5 here?
Why not?
Yeah, why not? She's good at the stations that matter the most at the end of the race when people have fallen apart.
She can
Like,
run, man. She can just run.
fantastic runner. Yeah.
It just depends on how long she's gonna be able to get over there. Is
Yeah.
then the issue, right? Like how
Only 5 kids.
yeah. How much can she spare? How much time can she spare away? That would be the main thing, because that's just a challenge. It's just going to be hard. She raced in Stockholm and it didn't go particularly well for her, but I think she was doing like the quick turnaround flight time. So I'm not sure. I mean, Lauren Griffith is one to watch. I don't know where her seat is going to be, but she's an outside shot for top 5. Camilla as well, because she could be seated, like I said, 11th, and she could be in the top 5. We didn't mention Vivian could be on the podium. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I
She's
would put
done
her
with
as a lock for
that
top
Delory.
5.
She's done with that.
She needs to be done with that Delory spot. We're gonna have to rename it. Jack, is there a way you can poll who got 4th more?
I probably could, but off the top of my head, I think James Delory had like 7 before he finally got his podium.
And that's the thing, because Vivian gets podiums.
Yes.
She wins races. She sets
We're
records.
just talking at majors.
Yeah,
Like,
she gets 4th a lot, but she like wins races a
Yeah.
lot too.
who's the closest OCR comparison? Like at national series, right? That's what it would end up being, the comparison, not local ones, because Vivian definitely has wins.
Yeah.
Probably Chad.
Maybe actually, yeah.
Bang. 1 for 1.
Yeah.
BK just like easy.
It's
You have a question, I got an answer.
It was a guess more than anything.
That's a full-on answer.
After this last draft and prediction and I'm shaken to my core at anything I think I know.
All right. Let's take a look at the dudes. Any last
Let's
thoughts on the
go.
women?
Let's move on.
It was no, I just thought it was interesting how the season played out, where 4 spots were on the line, and I was sort of wondering how this would have changed if only 2 were on the line, like in the men's race.
On the women's, for the women's
Yeah.
field? Yeah.
Yeah, if it was equal footing for both of the number of spots available, because like with 4 spots, you could be a little bit more conservative, because if you blow up, you still have 2 extra spaces that you can afford to blow up and still do okay in. Men, it was kind of all or nothing with only 2 spots available.
Big shout outs to Maria Fetchik and Anche Hardes, who we didn't even pick, and we've seen maybe not perform to the level of what she's capable of probably for the past year. Since Worlds last year, she hasn't necessarily had anything that got our attention that she would be someone who would qualify for this race, but she came all the way over from Germany, put her nose in it, and grinded out those wall balls to finish it out. And Maria never giving up on this place, like kind of in no man's land outside of the top 4 the entire race until the last minute, the last 30 seconds of her race. Like she made the move. So just a testament to not giving up on this race. It's very hard. It's never going to feel good. But if you just are willing to accept it, Maria shows like you can make big moves. So shout outs to them.
Yep.
Let's look at the dudes leaderboard. Again, this is a feature on the Hyrox website where you can kind of go through and get a story of how the race was playing out during the actual race itself. So the
Which I
homie
love.
Harry-
This is a great feature.
It's awesome.
Yeah. This might be the best website feature of anything OCR hybrid ever.
And then it
on the
stays.
website.
You know, it's like a live thing, but it stays. You can kind of look back at it. It's great. Our guy Harry Thompson, he might be cooking too much. He might be cooking too hot up front.
I
He's not-
respect it.
I mean, is anybody who's at the front right here not expected to be at the front at this point in the race?
So I didn't get to watch too much of this. I raced at 5:40. Even still, I raced at 5:40. These guys went off at 5:10. I saw them start, and then I saw the first lap. Sadiq had like a 5-second lead in the first lap of this thing. He
Lucased it.
sprinting. Yeah. And he must have literally stopped. He must have looked around and been like, oh no, I don't need to be way out in front of this, because everybody kind of came in with him. Harry ran him down, but then Anas, Lucas, John Wynn, Yannick, then the full group of everybody came in as well.
Were Kent and Hunter together in a wave?
They were together in a wave.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what Kent wore on his feet, BK?
Rocks.
No.
Basically. Hoka Crescendo cross-country spikes, spikeless.
I like that.
No,
I'm just kidding.
definitely don't like that. I put those on, and they literally have no energy return. It like takes energy away.
I like them for cross-country courses.
For sure. Maybe
I
a
can't
I
cinder,
don't think this is
Matt-
cross country though.
maybe a
He's
cinder
wired
track.
different though.
He's like, it makes me feel fast. I'm like, but it makes you run slow. I don't know. Those aren't the ones.
No.
So coming out of Ski Erg, again, we're gonna not look at Hunter or Kent here. It was Harry who had about a 4-second lead. Anas chilling. Yannick was in that mix too. And Lucas actually a bit back. Oh man, so Anas may have skied hard. And
Skied hard and he ran hard out.
his ski ability is strong, but I think that kind of pushes him pretty fast. Look at Sadiq here. So he's back 10 seconds from Anas here and 8 of Yannick. So he really put on the brakes.
I'm surprised seeing a down arrow next to Colin, meaning he lost a place on a ski erg.
That's true. That's true.
Good.
But
then
yeah, but maybe that's the right thing. We see Lucas going out, quote, slow. Colin playing it smart. I don't know.
So Sadiq's hammering these runs. He's catching Anas. Anas is already it seems like he's already kind of running out of gas a little bit. Colin was was all right here, but it looks like a
I know
big
the runs
group.
were different, but Anas ran 3:19 out of that and lost 2 seconds to Sadiq. Is that correct?
I think so,
So
or more than
Sadiq
that.
is running hard, but Anas wasn't running slow yet.
Right. All right, Sadiq, where we at? Out.
Sadiq was plus 22 and he came in plus 20.
Yeah,
Oh, he gained more than that on
gained
him.
way more than that. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I'm fairly certain Anas was 3:19.
And then on the
Wow.
push, so is where Harry just goes nuts.
That
didn't see-
is stupid.
I didn't see his.
And I
full
know Hunter's
score.
not in this, so you can't really compare.
Right, but he went faster than him. Let's look at Harry's. Oh crap, we can't. I don't think he finished. Shoot.
You have to do it this way. Yeah.
We gotta add up, but we're not gonna do that. I'm lost. Okay.
Can you right click on one of them and then open it in a new tab next to the name? Is it a hyperlink?
It won't because I don't think
No.
he has results. Yeah, it's not. Shoot.
All right. 1302. Go to the sled end. 13. Are you kidding me?
1107.
155.
Light work.
155. That's too fast.
Yes, it is.
So he came out of that thing in first. Colin also had a good push. So he was. Where did he come in? He was 111.
Colin 9. So he was 1117. So 203. That's
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah, that's really rolling.
Not 155, but that's still moving.
And then this run seemed to be where Luke was able to make up ground. Win is not quite in this yet, but he had a monster pull that took him. He was 36. I think he was like 311. He had the best pull of the day. He had faster pull than Hunter. And I don't know, it was this sled pull felt kind of heavy. I don't know. That was something I was like, geez, I didn't expect it to feel this way. So this is basically where the race completely shifts after that sled pull. And he put a ton of time on Colin and Harry. They're both kind of going backwards here. And then the rest of the field, like Marcus has a good showing here. It looks like Yannick's kind of going backwards a little bit. Sadiq is way back after that.
Wow.
Where did he make this
I'm
up?
just looking at Kent right there. How is his psyche after this race?
He's fine. He kind of gave himself the option to pull out. He's like, I'm going to push it until I can. He didn't really taper. He didn't taper. Literally didn't taper at all. So he was feeling kind of heavy and just was like, it's fine.
Not his day.
Not your day. But where did Sadiq come back? So he's 12
He's
here.
12 right there. 12 still. Oh, 5 burpee broad jumps.
Whoa.
2804. So that guy can jump.
What was he going in?
So he did those in 212.
Ew.
New
Nice.
form. That's disgusting.
That's great. Grayson's hanging in there here too. Look at Grayson up in 6th at
Yeah.
this point.
And Grayson was on his own. He was in Heat 3, right?
Did
Or
he end
Heat
up
2?
being in Heat 3? Because he.
I don't
just
know if he ended
maybe
up-
Heat 2. Maybe because
Yeah.
it's his first time.
Well, he messaged us during the show last time, and he was like, "Hey, is there any way to move me up?"
Mm.
So he and Katie Duke, I think.
Yep. Yeah, and I guess Sadiq must have just kind of ran him down. Colin's still sitting in 3rd.
Yeah, that's crazy. 212 for Sadiq, 225 for Hunter, 228 for Lucas, Jake Williamson, 232. So Sadiq was like 15 plus seconds faster than everybody except for Hunter, and 13 seconds faster than Hunter. So
Sadiq
that's a
races-
dangerous spot for him.
Sadiq races like an American. He doesn't do the Euro style where you just die on burpees, hammer the sleds, and then die. He did it. He flipped it.
Yeah.
He raced the back half of this thing. It looks like the run after Farmers was where Colin didn't have the juice. But then at this point, Lucas is just running away from people. Lucas would have been in front of Hunter going into lunges. Maybe that
Wow.
makes him does that make him a favorite?
He's won a world title before. I think this
Nick.
new slower strategy might help him out.
What was Hunter's effort?
I don't know.
Well, he was going for a world record, I thought. He posted about that.
So, and he hit these lunges in like 240 something. So he was trying at the end. You can't just do that, you know?
Nope.
So let's look at the men's qualifiers.
Real quick, how did this course compare? You think it was an even course, minute fast, minute slow? Like, what do you think? Typical US?
I mean, I've talked about how terrible the rock zone was several times now.
Yeah. No, I know. But
Incredibly long. Like, even if it adds up, like just being in there running in circles in the rock
So
zone.
what's his 56 worth?
does that make it Lucas a 55? Like,
Well, if you're in Berlin, I mean, we're talking about 49. Talking about 49 out in Berlin.
52.
I mean, seriously though, like maybe if this is that Berlin or the Cologne course, like they're probably like this is
Well,
again probably a 50
high threes extra.
You know, like for Lucas. I don't know. Wasn't fast, but I don't know, fairish. Probably the slowest course we've seen in a while, just based on that ridiculous rock zone. For the dudes, Hunter McIntyre, James Kelly, Ryan Kent, Rylan Shadag, Bo Wills, Lucas Storath, Mike Sandbach, Dylan Scott, Alex Ronkovich, sitting in the 9th spot here, Pelayo Menendez Fernandez, John Wynn, Tim Vinish, Tomasz
Tomasz.
Graham Halliday, and your boy, rounding out that last spot. No slouches in this race.
And David Megita would get the roll down. So it looks like since the
No
women
slouches
were already
yet.
updated, Rylan has not said no officially.
He's thinking about maybe.
Yeah.
Considering.
So let's say you're the next person after David. Would you get David's roll down if he decides not? I know David's gonna go.
He's
but
going.
Yeah. He'll go even if he can't break 70. Okay. I'm just wondering, like, if you're the second alternate, basically, do you still train as if Worlds is coming up just in case you get that call?
I mean, you should probably be on your radar. Who would it be if in all of the majors, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I decide not to race, I think it's Colin, right? If Graham pulls out, I think Colin should be keeping it together a little bit. If you're like top 5 in any major and hadn't qualified, but I don't like how far are we going down?
Yeah. It's
gonna
like
hit, it's going to hit Megita in every major. Every
be mad
major
if I
roll down,
was-
it'll be Megita.
if I was Sadiq and I've just run a couple real fast races
He has no shot.
recently,
He's out.
Yeah.
Like Sadiq cannot qualify because he didn't run a major.
And I think he could be
Last
a
chance
top,
qualifier doesn't count towards any roll down.
I guess that's true. Like if for whatever reason John Wynn is hurt.
Yeah. Or Lucas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
he's a
guess so.
top 10 guy, lock in my mind, Sadiq, if he's in that
Yeah.
race.
Yeah.
Sucks.
But yeah,
Hopefully he gets an invite to a major next year. Hopefully he gets in somehow.
well, he ran 57 something in Doha. So he has a
True,
good
so
time.
he's in.
Doha.
So he has a good time somewhere.
Hey, he won $7,000. He's probably making more than most of the people. It sucks from a pride standpoint, but at least he got financially rewarded for that.
What's his finishing time here? 58:26. Yeah, so I mean that's good. That's good on this course.
But there was a big gap between Lucas and Jonathan ahead of him.
Yeah, I was just comparing it to Doha.
Yeah.
And he was in Doha last week. John.
Yeah.
Big shouts to John Wynn and Luke. They had come over, I think, a week beforehand. Huge investment on their end, not just financially, but time wise as well. Just really like this is important to people. I was thinking about this in 2021 or 22 or whatever when I was actually the 17th time that year, but got a roll down because Tobias got COVID and Peter Schiller just decided not to come. Right? He's like, I just can't justify that. And now we got dudes spending a week of their time flying all the way across the world to potentially make it. No one's giving up their spot in these things anymore.
Why do they have Lucas listed as second place, LCQ Anaheim? I mean, I understand the overall ranking, but why is that listed?
Ooh. Because Hunter had a faster time, technically.
Yeah,
Right.
because their
But he
system.
wasn't
No,
even
they just
eligible.
they probably copied and pasted because
Yeah, their
Okay.
system just
no,
doesn't do it.
Jonathan's third.
So no slouches here. This could be same kind of deal, man. I mean, it could be 2 or 3 at the top, and then from 3 to 15, right? Like,
So I'm going to ask the same question. Is this a one-horse race or is it multiple? And if it's multiple, who can push him?
it's multiple in my mind. Like,
Really?
yeah,
Multiple
Alex.
that will be there for a bit or multiple that have a legit chance to knock him off?
I think Alex has a shot to knock him off for sure.
Yeah.
And if Kent is completely on, then he will also be in that mix come to the end of the race where
A
his
fit
current
rattle
fitness
would have
is.
made things interesting. And I think
No.
James Kelly, his
believe it.
time, his 54:03, I think translates to about a 56 low, and that's kind of what Alex and Hunter have done. Like
What? Stop
Yeah.
this.
All right.
Stop
Sleep
this.
on James.
You picked him. Did you have him third in your hybrid rankings?
In like the adjusted time, yeah, I think it was third or fourth.
Absurd.
It's not.
I've never seen a
take
harder eye
head-to-head and-
roll.
Take head to
in a
head and
Rich
throw
Ryan.
it out the window.
All
Doesn't
right.
matter.
Hey, you guys will settle it on the course.
Yeah. Just
I
like
know.
before.
I know.
Just like in all these things. Run some
Yeah, I know.
time. Now he's like, oh wow, it's time. Time adjusted. You ran your calculations. They're probably completely off.
Paula Dillon,
wall.
go ahead. Just say it. Just say it.
Shove it up your butt cheeks.
Yeah.
Shove it up where you wipe.
Oh, good callback.
Where you wipe. There you go. That was
All
good.
right. All
Took
right.
a second.
Mm.
Stick it in your ears. All right. What else we have to cover for Hyrox? Did we do it?
Yeah. Any more news on world teams or anything? Were those announced at all? Because I thought
The
they were
relay?
kind of like slowly trickling down, like naming names.
For the relay?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kent and Hunter are blocking a B team. They're lobbying.
Blocking a B team.
They're lobbying
they
to not
know-
have a B team in there.
They know what's happening.
They don't want that smoke.
Actually,
I don't think so. But I wouldn't be
thought we
No,
had
no,
surprised.
something
we're
to-
going with it. We're
They don't
going
want
with it.
that B team out there.
Yeah.
I do have a Hyrox question for you.
All right.
What do you make of the top US men jumping over and doing the tune-up thing and not the women?
Vivian did.
I'm
And Meg
talking
did a
top
week
two.
before,
And Meg ran Doha.
or Doha.
Mhm.
Yeah, one
Yeah.
week before.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's just an opportunity that's worth taking if it's easy to pop into there. You're mostly talking about Lauren then, right?
I guess Lauren and Meg weren't there and Hunter and Kent were. I
Mhm.
suppose the Doha does play into it.
That's
Mm.
soon
Do-
enough, yeah.
Dohar.
Dohar. I don't make too much of it. You?
No, not worried about it.
I don't. I think it's interesting. The guys seem to have embraced this. Go out hard, drop out if we need to, and the women just stay dialed in training.
Mm.
Hunter, the last time that we saw him was Stockholm in December, so he needed to do something just to kind of
I agree.
feel it. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he would have been fine, but I think this was he lives in LA. Like that's the time to do it. Kent, he's had a lot of life stuff happen, and I think just getting out there and feeling that race environment again, that probably made a big deal as well.
I think Hunter's
Yeah.
is dialed with his alternative metrics is probably anyone in the sport.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he needs to, but I think for the top ranked person, it's important to feel bad before the Worlds.
Mhm.
I think that's an important thing to feel.
And I don't know if Lauren had raced too much in the near, like how close she raced to the Worlds last year. I
Mm.
don't believe she ran Anaheim, which would have been her last. She didn't race Anaheim,
No,
which would have been her last opportunity. So maybe she's good with huge blocks and can just.
I
go
mean,
like,
she broke a DecaFit world record. She ended up doing a 15K road race. She's staying sharp.
and she has no problem
No.
with the.
I'm not worried about them whatsoever.
You're
I
just
think,
contrasting genders and the strategy. Yeah.
I think the real question is how those Euros came over and just gave it to the dudes.
Didn't first time ever basically on US soil that hasn't worked out for the hometowners.
Yeah. Yeah. All I can say is that historically, those guys are proven to be better at Hyrox than the guys they faced.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take away the fact that they came over and took care of business, which we haven't always done on the male side when the roles are reversed.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a statement, I think, from the European racers, because
Mhm.
it was the best that we had. Magida has a theory of it, like, because the sleds are now easier to push, that it does lean in the favor of the European athletes, not because they're not as strong, but just because they are used to pushing with such intensity so early in the race that it's just the style, and they can just kind of really hammer that front half and hang on to the back, where the U.S. racers, maybe we just don't. I think it's an opportunity thing. There's not a lot of opportunities to test that type of racing out, so it might put us at a bit of a disadvantage. But I don't think I buy that theory that much.
If I had any theory, it would be just availability of races. It's just you don't get to practice Hyrox as much on the race course, and that's in a sport that's so multifaceted. It matters, but it clearly doesn't stop our women. So maybe our men are defenseless. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Europeans handled business.
They
It was
did.
impressive.
They did. Got to give it to them. Because yeah, I mean, if you
Drugs.
probably some sort of
Drugs.
cheating. They probably skipping laps.
Yep.
They had
The-
spikes in their cross country shoes.
Literal
Yeah.
spikes.
Yeah.
Because if you add up the amount of Hyrox races that Luke has done and that Wynn have done versus the amount that Colin has done, I think Colin's done like 4.
Yeah. Marcus
know?
hadn't raced in like 18 months or something.
Yeah,
like,
his one opportunity that he did have, he got sick and couldn't.
shingles. Yeah.
So this is his first race since March last year. So it could be an experience thing. I think that's fair. But they came out, did work. Gave it to the boys.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to Spartan.
Let's do it.
Spartan.
Let's do it.
You know what we haven't talked about yet today?
Jack Bauer.
Your birthday?
Penalties, and I'm excited. Woo!
Oh.
Penalties.
penalties.
This is so
No, we
this,
talked about penalties because Rich got a no rep for throwing it too high.
Not a
sort of
penalty.
penalty.
not a retroactive penalty.
All right.
So this
no
was
rep.
the second stop of the 2024 Spartan U.S. National Series. Is that the name?
North American.
North
Nah,
American.
U.S.
U.S. Stupid.
We're- Seattle, U.S.
Yep.
Yep. Big Bear.
U.S.
We
Series
know,
North
we
American
know Jacksonville is
The
America.
Pan American Series. No.
Wow.
You can qualify for the Pan Am champs by racing in the Canadian National Series, which has already had some races, Mexican National Series, which has already had some races there, and the 3 U.S. ones that were primarily
Well, we're
discussing.
crushing. I'm crushing again as always.
We're back
However,
to USNS.
Should I derail this first or should I wait
Yep.
until after? All right. Got a little disappointment going on right here. They got rid of the 3K at Seattle. I found out about
Shocker.
that. I found out about that during VJ's post-race interview with Sean Roberts.
Wait. So to be clear on the facts here, Steve Hammond. Oh, I got a hand raised from my own screen. Did it show
Did
up on
you?
yours?
Nice.
No.
It like flashed it for
Oh,
one
I think I
second.
turned mine off for
Hey!
good.
Wait. Hold it.
There it
Whoa.
is.
You switched order.
I'm gonna view it. You?
Oh.
BK, you have something to say here? I'm gonna lower
Yes.
it.
So I'm just going to recount for the court the facts in this case. 1, Steve Hammond proposed to stick with to counter what some people wanted for the 3K course. That was declined. He talked about it to someone else, got fired for it. The person who fired him quit the company a week later. And now the 3K is off the table completely. So we can
I'm
still
not-
have Steve Hammond in the company doing all the things he does well if we had just left well enough alone and allowed him to keep being a phenomenal human being. I know you're not going to confirm or deny, but I'm just going to speak these things out into the universe.
That's what
Is
I'm
that-
hearing.
Is that about what we're saying?
I can't really argue against that. Yeah. This whole season, I was like, hey, broke my knee last year. I've got Seattle 3K. That's kind of what I want to do. Some other athletes, same deal. They were like, I didn't really get a chance last year. I know Sean Roberts was really excited about doing it as well. VJ started that petition to get everybody to want to show up for it. And then it's not there. And the thing that makes me mad is I looked this morning even before I checked with some people at Spartan, it's still on the website listed that there is a 3K championship at Seattle.
So
And
who's saying there isn't?
So right here, I'll just read this directly off the website. 2024 regional championships weekends consist of a 3K short course championship and a beast championship. And then it has 3 bullet points: Pan Am champs, European, and APAC. So flat out, still currently on the Zendesk as of this morning, after race number 2 in a series, which was one of 3 way, or they've had 2 of the 3 ways to even make the Pan Am champs, where they already declare they're going to have a 3K and a beast. Now people have potentially run 2 of the 3 races that are required to get there, and they're not even going to have that option anymore. So kind of pissed about that.
People who have raced like yourself, flown,
I would not have
hotel,
gone to Big Bear if I
car,
knew that a 3K didn't exist.
race, only to qualify for a race that now is gone.
Yes.
It's a beast now. Does that qualify you for the beast?
Only a beast. And the worst part is, so you know how they gave money to this race? They took the money that they were going to give for the 3K, and that's what they used to pay for Big Bear and Utah.
Well,
The penny drops.
Yeah.
This is why we don't have one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's never stopped them. Not having money never stopped them.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying they got rid of that race to free up money for other races. That's the only thing that would make any amount of sense here.
And apparently it was mentioned on a podcast a few weeks ago. If you didn't hear that podcast and all you were doing was relying on all the information and posts that were out there that are still on Zendesk, for instance, as of today, after the race has already happened, apparently that's when it was mentioned. So if you weren't one of the random listeners who happened to stick with the podcast up until that point, you wouldn't have known.
What podcast?
I think it was on Matt's podcast, but yeah, I didn't know about it. VJ
Did he post about it?
It's not, like I said, it's still on Spartan's website that every single regional championship, specifically listed Pan Am and European and APAC, will have that 3K and a separate beast championship.
So how much money are you out now?
Like flight and everything. Like I did this kind of as a double weekend.
How many points did that?
No, I use cash. Cash. I would say probably $800 this past weekend between rental car. I visited my old friend who lived in different part of LA, but I only kind of made the trip out there because of that.
So everyone asked for their money back all at once.
Yeah.
It's on their website. Honor your words. Let's go, Spartan.
Exactly. And then the other thing is there's an Instagram post. It's never clear, but right, it's still live and it says, join the pros at the 2024 Pan American Championships, parentheses, 3K and 21K in Seattle in September. Blah, blah. Prize money for both the long and short course championships, 5,000, 2,500, 1,000. And that's on Spartan's Instagram account. So it's both of them are listed. I'm not necessarily going to get, a chance of, or I'm probably not going to podium at that, but a guy like Manuel Defoe, he flew over from Switzerland thinking that the 3K was going to be a thing. Sean Roberts kind of put in a hill block for Big Bear thinking this is the only way that I can make Seattle, and I'm going to put all my eggs in my basket for the 3K right there. I'm sure there are some women who I didn't talk with in that field who really would have liked doing well, like a Julie Best. She podiumed at the 3K last year. I'm sure she was licking her chops to give that another shot. So I don't know. I've given them the benefit of the doubt on some stuff in the past, but I'm pretty miffed at this.
So we months ago said, what are the odds of the Spartans short world championship happening?
Didn't that go away too, the 3K or the sprint?
No, it's still a sprint in Croatia, but they gave
like all the money's at the
for the money towards the 100 instead of the sprint.
So there still is a 21
not happening.
Yeah. So there's the 21K still happening though in Seattle.
Only the beast. Yeah.
Can Nick Mask run in that? Is he qualified for that?
Probably not.
How do you is it the same way to qualify?
You have to do one of these. So basically the only people who are in contention are the people who have run Jacksonville or Big Bear so far. So if you haven't, you need a top 20 in Utah. If you even want a shot, it's ridiculous.
There's one chance left to get there.
One chance.
But you
They're going to
can't
end up with a
run-
field of 18.
You
Yeah.
can't show up at Utah and just be like, I'm here. Right?
Exactly.
Unless your goal is to like take 20th.
All right. So
I don't
I've
even
also
think you can like I can race that race.
Well,
in
you
Utah,
can't know
right?
if you've
you can't. Oh, you can if you run a race in the next like month and then to qualify to be able to do Utah.
if you're on a qualifying race to go to the qualifying race to get to the race that you don't care about anymore because the 3K is gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Stinks.
So I'm looking at so they're given 65,000 for the 100-meter ninja course world championship. So 20,000, 10,000, 2,500 for first, second, and third. For the sprint world championship, that's 10,000, 5,000, 2,500. So 35,000 is what they're giving in Croatia. So it's about half of what they're giving for the ninja, and that is what adds up to their 100K.
That's going to be
prize
gone
money
too,
for
I
that.
bet. That's going to be
So
out the
I
door.
don't know. Got to be
That
transparent
sucks.
with this stuff. It makes a lot of people mad.
Can't
There's a
expect it.
difference between not transparency and just having wrong information out.
Yeah.
Not transparent is oh my goodness. This
Yeah.
is beyond translucency.
Like it just messes up. Like I know, and I'm just one athlete, but I'm sure it's others. But it's like my whole season was geared towards like, all right, I want redemption. I want to run that 3K because I wasn't able to do, Palmerton last year. I wasn't able to. I was going to do Mexico. Like I was going to try to do that series and have a second shot at it. And now it's like, just kidding. Not even an option anymore.
I have a proposal.
Let's hear
Let's
it.
hear it.
We fundraise 3K prize money and we show up and race 3K.
Of the beast?
First time you re-enter the festival area, we spray paint on the ground or on the side with a cone, a unofficial finish line, and we have people with stopwatches and we give away money and we all run through that point and step off. We make our own 3K, Jack.
I don't
Just
hate
go
it.
all kind of like the European strategy for
An
Hyrox.
open-
It's like
open
just go
3K.
out as hard as you can, and
Yes.
you don't even need to hang on because our race is done after 3K.
Yep.
So, okay. I'm sure we've
Race
got
to the spear throw or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Just do the final gauntlet 3 times
We
out
can
of
do it.
order. Yeah. Anyway, that was a side tangent. Just I
Sorry
found
to hear that.
out about that at like 11 o'clock last night watching the live coverage. I'm like, what? And then I've been talking with Sean all morning, and we're not happy.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I mean,
He
it's not-
even like his whole purpose was like Sean would have been dangerous in that 3K, and it's like good money, and now it's not really on the table anymore. But like he gave up on Spartan basically, and then came back into the sport because he thought it was an option at this point. I don't know. It's just
So we won't see the 3K at all. It's just gone.
I don't think it's ever happening again.
Nice. Unless they do Spartan
Sunk
games.
cost.
100 meters though.
100
There we go.
meters.
Yeah.
You
so
guys
that-
are just barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah.
It's the 60 and the 80 I'm excited about.
We're in
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
yeah.
Big difference.
good
And they have
thing we have
100
a-
in case neither of those fit your skill set.
Good thing we have a governing body
Yeah.
to take care of that.
Yeah, seems like a lot of things happened behind the scenes when Chris was in charge and just weren't really alerted to the public. So
All right, let's go over the results here. Big Bear. Jackie got the
I do.
fantasy
Yep. Let
fantasy
me
board.
see. All right, here we go. I already filled it in.
You already have the man. You already have that.
But we have a little
Well,
bit of a
shoot.
situation. Chloe decided last minute she was going to run the 40 to 44 age group.
You're out.
No. So what we've done in the past is if you don't have enough finishers, we did this at OCR Worlds last year. You take the place of like whatever, say there were 20 people, you give 21st place to that missing spot. So how many women were in this race?
Let's have a look.
Or we could take Chloe's time and
29.
transpose it. 29 women?
I accept this ruling.
No, Ashley held it right here. She's 13th.
Oh, 13. I was looking
Lie.
overall.
Yeah.
I still accept this ruling.
Let's see it.
So it'd be 14. So okay. So Bracken with 29. Rich 28. Okay.
Terrible
like
week
that.
for me.
I don't think I like
Terrible.
this. Jack got a DNF, and he's trying to stick it in there as 14th.
What would so she ran 150.03. What would that have been in the elite race?
Different race. Can't go side by side on that.
Okay. We do have we do have whatchamacallit, a precedent by doing this at OCR Worlds.
Who did it at OCR Worlds?
Maybe me, because I did terrible that race.
Collusion.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not in last, so that's good.
Jack set this
Not
up a
last.
year ago.
I didn't set anything up.
Let's see it.
All right.
Gosh darn it.
So it's looking like no. Rich got 28, not 20. I was like Bracken last.
Yeah, this is the worst.
All right. Rich is still in
Yikes.
first on the season, 143 points. I'm in second, 148, and Bracken is just spiraling downhill with an abysmal 2-6 record.
Not
175
spiraling.
points.
It's a 1 weekend bender. That's not a spiral unless you chain them together.
1 weekend bender. All right. Even before this weekend. Okay. Yeah.
I was
he really is.
winning.
This is like the hangover right here type of bender.
He was off his jam.
It's bad.
He was all out of sorts.
Yeah.
Man.
All right. On
Not
the
good.
women's end at Big Bear, Annie Doobie took the win in 1:22.39. Rose Wetzel was second in 1:32. Then Casey Monroe, Lisa Musa. How are we saying this? Masachiko? Huh?
Not that.
Masachio.
Masachio? Wasn't too far off. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
BK's over here.
Mr.
doesn't have a subject.
Chico.
Julie Best finishing fifth. Faye Morgan sixth. Oh, man, another one. Jordan
Houseliden.
Houseliden.
House Layden.
Houseliden. Noah Morau, Rachel Munoz, and Vivian Tran round out the top 10.
Yep.
We saw something interesting this weekend, which was a good old fashioned butt kicking. But we saw depth of field is tough to tell here, but gap first to second in both fields was bigger than the gap second to sixth. Which,
yeah,
I don't care what the field is like. If you label it in a US Elite Series race, that is a gap. Bigger gap 1 to 2 than 2 to 6.
I firmly believe, and I talked with Chris Brown. Oh, that's another thing that we should talk about. But I talked with a former high placing finisher during this race. Hot call was on another level. So let's just get it out of the way. So Chris Brown crossed the line second place, but he threw his spear, stuck for like a second. He turned his back to it, thought it was in. Volunteer doesn't say anything. It falls out. They penalize him after the race, 10 minutes, because that's what they've done throughout history. And he ends up falling to like sixth place, I think. But anyway, I talked with Chris Brown, he's a world level trail runner, right? Like he's competed for, he's sponsored by Hoka. So very high level trail runner, at least national level.
He's as good of a trail runner as we have in the sport in North America right now.
Yeah. He's won the Ultra World Championship at Lake Tahoe and Bracken DNF'd. He is
catching everything today.
Yeah.
If you didn't DNF, KBB
He's
was
lucky.
looking at a second.
He's lucky. Yeah. But Chris Brown has been around. He actually ran a race in Malibu for Spartan in 2010. He is the longest active elite racer for Spartan, believe it or not. So there's your trivia. But he's run side by side with Hobie. Yeah, I think he was at that Sacramento race with you, Bracken.
Wait.
Yeah.
What about Donahue? Donahue just got a podium this weekend.
2011.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Elite
anyway,
podium too.
Elite podium. It was down in
Raymond
James.
James.
Yeah.
Bridget Brown taking the win on the women's end.
Crushed it. Yeah. And I think Alvaro ended up winning on the men.
Longest stadium ever?
What stadium?
That time was like 39 minutes.
Wow, really?
For the
That's
men.
that's close to
37
the Dallas one when it was Kent and Killian having that crazy battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 37, 38. So yeah, that's a big stadium right there. But anyway, Chris Brown, he knows what fast is. He's seen everybody. He's run with Hobie. He's run with Cody. He's run with Hunter during their prime. Pretty much everybody, and he was in the national series recently, the past couple of years, or 2 years ago. Like he's seen everybody. And he said he went out at a quote high octane pace, and he had no intention of getting dropped. And Hawk Call had a 1 minute lead, 13 minutes into the race on a climb. And he's like, I couldn't stay with him if I even tried. He is so fit right now. He doesn't think that anybody in the sport, Albin included, Hobie in his prime could have beaten Hawk that day.
Well, all right.
And it's like a travesty that it occurred where no one else was.
Right.
Like if a
Yeah.
tree sets a record in the forest and there's no other big strong trees there to hear it, like it sucks. I want to be super excited about his race, and to an extent I am, but like we didn't see Ryland there. We didn't see Atkins there. I want to
Lars,
prove I
Johnny.
trust KBB. I do. He's seen the best, but I want to see him. I want to see him against those people.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate. It's not like we had bums there though. Like it might not have the name recognition. Like Chris Brown's fantastic. Balin Bean is really, really good at running on technical steep hills. Manuel Defoe, he won the National Series last year and got third no matter who showed up at OCR Worlds, at all the National Series races. Like he's a stud. Sean Roberts, we know his accolades. Like you did have some pretty solid athletes there, and he just left everybody.
How good you are at OCR. The litmus test is how did you compare to Ryan Atkins? I think that's the most solid comparison we can make in the sport.
Here's another thing. So if you look at the 2021 course, that was the year when it was VJ and Atkins having that battle. I know it's not the same, but it was very, very similar. And this course had about 200 to 300 feet extra of elevation gain and was about 0.4 miles faster. And he ran the same time, including a 2+ minute penalty loop.
Jack's just looking for reasons to put him on the all-time list.
I'm not putting him on the all-time list. I'm saying this performance was insane. I think bullet to my head, and most people would say the same thing in this field. Like 8 minutes, you might have been able to keep his pace, and then you're dead. Like you wouldn't even be able to run the rest of the race at that point. His climbing is so good right now.
And I'm not taking it away from him. I'm saying they took this statement moment away from him.
Exactly.
Yeah, by devaluating the series.
Right.
Like let's add prize money 2-3 weeks before the event happens. That'll definitely entice people to show up when they haven't even had this on their calendar to train for it. Like
he deserved this to happen with Atkins there, with Ryland, with Veerman, with the people that that we've seen set the standard for the course. And then he does this. And I believe his result, because we've seen his trail running races all year and we've seen his road running races all year. Like he is that guy. We have nothing to compare it to.
So in the results on the men's end, did I cover these? We did not do this, right?
No.
How did we get here? Hawk Call, Manuel Dufoix, Balin Bean, Sean Roberts, Sam Osborne is 5th. KBB receiving a gazillion minute penalty in 6th. Ethan Brown 7th. Jack Bauer coming through in 8th. And
Spear.
What's that? Also Mrs. Spear.
Yeah.
Luis Rogel and Dustin Needham round out top 10.
I think Ethan and Sean Roberts were the only two to hit their spear.
What was up with that spear?
It was just weird. It was heavier than the practice one. Like I didn't throw it short. It was right at that edge of the circle, and I just missed it. And a lot of people, same deal. They just like missed it by a couple inches. It was the circle inside the wooden frame, and people just,
it's tricky.
For some reason, circles just confuse us.
Not as bad as a pyramid.
Nope.
That is,
was it
if
was
they
it
had a
cylinder?
pyramid target, I'm just throwing that thing backwards. I'm not even getting close.
And you said it was a nasty penalty loop?
Oh, I had about a 2 minute 40-second lead on Ethan by the time that I threw it. He hit his, and we exited within a couple seconds of each other. And I know that Hawk, when he ran it was like just about 2 minutes, and he was flying on it. I didn't stand a chance going his pace. But yeah, it was well over 2 minutes for even the fastest guys.
It's a big penalty.
Yeah.
So the U.S. National Series rankings are not up to date on the website. I don't even know if they do that anymore.
I think Ethan's dad mentioned it to me. All right, standings after. Nope, didn't do it. I think Ethan, he needed to get 7th place or better assuming Hawk runs in Utah, because he'd get 23 plus 20, so it'd have 46 points. I think Ethan, with his 3rd place in Jacksonville, needed 7th place for his average here and in Utah to win the series, and he got 7th right here. So just do it one more time, and he's your champion.
Okay, and you would assume Hawk would be running Utah.
he's not sure because there's like a really, really a Cirque Series race that same weekend in Utah, and
He
he's
should do
doing
that.
Broken Arrow. He really wants to, prove himself on the trail running scene. So he's not sure about that, but he wants to face like world-class trail running competition, and it's in his home state, so that'll be a hard sell.
It's the first year ever I can confidently say it's better to do all those other races than OCR. In the past, money was still better here, and sponsorship opportunity was better here. This is the first year. Go do it.
Yeah, I agree. Especially if he's running at this level.
Yeah. Here's the tricky thing. It's like, how's he going to qualify? Like, if he runs in Abu Dhabi, he's the only guy who's hanging with Basilico. I know Atkins was able to, but even he got dropped at one point. And Basilico had the long spear throw penalty. But I think Hawk, now he has to definitely run Pan Am champs and get top 50 there if he wants to run Worlds. So I'm hoping we see him in Seattle, but I don't think there's a way for him to run in Abu Dhabi otherwise.
His 65 equates to about a 218, 219 marathon, I think.
Yeah.
And if you
That
look
was
at
like the old Olympic trial standard.
yeah. If you look at that, there's not many people on the trail side who are the mountain goats who are significantly faster than that. There are some who've run 212, 214, 216.
Walmsley, Joe Gray. Yeah.
Yeah, like back in the day, Stage Canada had a couple quicker, but he's not going to be at a severe speed disadvantage against these guys, and he's altitude adjusted. So if his downhill is as legit as he says, if it's 90% of as good as he says, he could have a place in that world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be really exciting to watch. That's something that I think will follow along.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, as long as he wears those pirate shorts, it's game on.
Easy to follow.
Untouchable wearing those.
So, Jack, give us a quick recap of your world record attempt here at Big Bear.
My world record. I didn't say I was having a world record attempt, but
Smart.
maybe I was now. No, it started off. It was very similar to previous courses. Within like 3 minutes, almost everybody in the field was just power hiking. It's so steep. And I was talking with Annie after the race, and neither of us remembered how sandy it was. I think it was a lot worse footing than in previous years.
The footing down, I remember being like weirdly soft. Like
footing down was fine. It was the up that was like, oh, you're going backwards a little bit at certain points. I think it was just a very dry area for the time being. There was still snow in the course, but most of the snow melt was long gone by then.
What'd you wear?
I wore my, what are they? The Innovate Terra Fly. I think that's the Trail Fly something.
You don't
they
know.
used to
All
be
right.
they used to be the Terra Ultra G270s.
It was a trail run, so he wore the trail shoes that he has.
Yeah, they used to be the.
He would wear.
No, they're fantastic. They're fantastic for this type of environment in terms
How
of
do you
grip.
know?
Because they're going backwards on the climb.
I run the dry Rocky Mountain style trails all the time in Colorado. Not all the time.
You have not in all the shoes.
That's true. I've worn VJs and I've worn these and a few other Ultra MTs or something like that.
You only need one brand of shoe there.
What would you wear?
I said Innovate, VJ, and Ultra.
Yeah, I stand by that.
Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, it was pretty steep. Probably like I think Hawk reached the sandbag carry in like 13 or 12 minutes, and everyone was like a minute behind him at that point. Or not everybody. Second place was. Annie reached it probably like 16 or so minutes. She was in contention for like top 5 climbing for most of the race. Then he did some sandbag carry that was over like a big snow mound, went back downhill kind of uninterrupted, about 1,000-foot drop, pretty steep, pretty sketchy, but it was a good descent. And then reached the bottom, had a few obstacles, and then it was just a 15-20 minute climb just of death up that second climb. Super steep. I don't remember it being that steep, and I've rabbited there, I've raced there before, but it was very, very challenging. Nice obstacle gauntlet at the end. It was pretty similar to the 1K loops that we had last year. I'd say not identical, but very similar layout in terms of like the order that stuff happened in. There are a couple points where it's like, oh, we would have gone left around the chairlift or something, but we didn't this time. But pretty similar to the 1K finisher, and just that penalty loop with I think 16 or 15 of the top 20, if you combine top 10 men and women, missed their spear. Everybody was just stuck in that thing for 2 to 3 minutes.
Shoot, I had something here. I forget. I
It
got
was a
nothing.
good course overall, honest. Like if you like crazy steep mountain courses, it was a great course. But honestly, it was
That course is like too hard. The beast, it's just like such a. Like, I'm like, would I want to do that? I'm like, not really. That seems
yeah.
awful.
Hawk ran 100% of steps. Annie probably, I was within a minute of Annie almost all the race. She
Hawk didn't
definitely,
hike.
Hawk did not hike. I talked with the cameraman who was with them, did not hike. 100% running. I would say Annie
Wow.
95% running.
Nice.
Just it's designed for her, this type of terrain. But Hawk doesn't power hike. Unreal. And his stride length going uphill is just it would be like a 30-second hill repeat for most people, the stride length he's doing.
Did you get to see any of his descent, like that first one?
Barely. I saw him bombing like when I was finishing up the no, he was done with the sandbag by the time I reached it. He already had that much of a lead. But I saw him at one point, like briefly, and yeah, he's a great descender.
Jack, you could have made it to Hyrox Anaheim.
I had a 1 o'clock flight from Ontario, and that was one of the sketchiest. Like I was just waiting at the rental car area for the shuttle, and it took like 25 minutes. And I'm like, okay, I got here with an hour to go. Now I've got 35 minutes till my flight leaves. Like this thing better get here, and I barely made my flight. So, but Hyrox they screwed up because they didn't announce the times till the week of, so I wouldn't have had any chance to.
You could have jumped
do
in that
that.
last chance qualifier. You had the ability to. You could have made it there, no problem.
One of the cameramen, he helped out rabbiting and then ran Hyrox.
Nice.
Javier.
What a beast.
Yeah, crazy.
See,
He's
light
also
work,
from New
dude.
Hampshire like me, so shout out to Javier.
Nice. Max Apples.
Yep, exactly.
All right. What else?
I was really impressed on the women's side, like the some of the lesser known names. Lisa, who we mentioned, she was in fourth, and she just missed her spear. She came into it maybe, I don't know, 10 seconds behind Casey. It would have been a real battle at that point. I was very impressed. And she hadn't really she had won her last 10 races dating back to last April. She lives on the East Coast, kind of lesser known, but she's a very fit athlete. She's got 16 podiums since 2022 for Spartan. And in her last 25 races, she had never finished worse than fourth, make that 26 because she did it at the National Series race. So she's a very up and coming athlete or if you don't have the name recognition, she's been doing it for a while, but I think more people hopefully know who she is after this race. Rose getting it done. Really gutsy performance at the end on the bucket carry when Casey was closing in on her. But Rose still really fit. I was impressed with what she did.
Still doing it. It's been a while.
Still.
No.
Yep.
So I'm glad to see that there are high caliber athletes who are still pushing their chips in on Spartan, traveling to go to see these good races. This is a very competitive field compared to what we have seen. Just get a little bit of prize money out there. And then it's like, hey, they'll show up.
I mean, if you look at the rest of the top 10 for the women's side, you have like Julie Best, Faye Morgan, Ashley Heller, Sarah Rich. They're like athletes that you typically see throughout the past 5+ years. Those are the ones who are consistently fighting for right around 8 through 12 or so. And then some of the other names like Jordan Houseladen, she's done really well over the past year or so. I think that it was actually a pretty respectable field given Lindsay being pregnant and Chris being injured. It's like, yeah, I thought it was a pretty solid women's field in terms of depth.
How many athletes in this field under 30? Jack, you're looking at it. Just don't.
No,
just
I'm
guess.
not looking at. I would guess the youngest might have been like 29. One.
BK?
3.
1 is correct.
Yeah. Was
it was 28?
Hawk.
I'm gonna get
Hawk, Balin, and one on the female side.
Oh, so you're trying to get total.
Yeah.
There's a couple more. Ethan Brown, he's under.
Yeah, definitely
Ethan's
Ethan.
under.
Some of the other finishers,
Albert Danielson,
the teens.
they're both under.
Yep.
Well, then the future is now. We're set.
I was looking at the Hyrox age group right there when you had it pulled up earlier, and Hunter's in that 35 to 39 category. It's getting.
He ain't young.
It's crazy. I'm turning 35 this year. Like it's scary.
BK, how's 37?
37.
How's it going?
Dang.
It's young. It's a young year for me so far.
Nice, dude.
It's been one day. No major aches or pains.
Nothing bad.
Hitting a workout after this, I'll let you know.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right.
Might fall apart for you.
You
37
gonna do
was okay. I did
37K like
held it
like Kirk
together.
does.
Nah, he and I both skipped that this year.
Smart.
Getting too old.
Yeah.
Yeah. No thanks. All right. What else we got? Next week, nothing really going on this weekend, I believe.
Not really. We had our topic that we were kind of talking behind the scenes. Maybe we can do that next
We'll
week.
talk some OCR next week for sure.
Mhm.
Then we have Hyrox World Championships in 2 weekends.
Basically, whatever happens at Hyrox until France
3
doesn't
weekends.
matter. Like, right, in terms of qualifications. So it's just
Yep.
kind of results reporting at that point.
Yep. There's New York that's going to be happening, which is just fun to have a U.S. race that's on the 1st. So I guess we had 3 weekends. Not this weekend coming up the following weekend, but the weekend after that.
Mm-hmm.
BK, what's up? You got something?
I'm just thinking for this Pan American Championship, and I don't want to spend long on this, but who do we have qualified? Like, is there a chance that there is no one that's been other than Hawk? Is that real?
Manuel Defoe's, Ethan
No,
Brown.
He won't come to Pan Am.
Manuel?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
That's a
does.
beast.
That he was. Oh yeah, he
Without
might
the
not
3K?
anymore.
So
He
we
wanted
have
to do for the
Angel
3K.
and Hawk. Will there be anyone else who's ever been top 10 at a regional championship even qualified for this?
I mean, Sean is like, if I'm Sean Roberts, honestly,
John's never been
Seattle-
top 10 at a regional championship.
I know, but okay, I guess you're right. If we're solely going by that, but if
Like,
I'm Sean,
Is
honestly,
it gone?
yeah,
Whole new field of athletes.
up to 60 people can be there, and the only way that you get there is if you're top 20 at one of these 3 national series races.
And so we have Angel has qualified. And
Has
Hawk.
he? Oh yeah, because he's done the Mexican series.
So that's it, right?
Jesse Bruce. He got
There we
5th or
go.
6th at West Virginia one year.
For sure.
Okay. So we have 3 people who have ever been maybe even top 15 at a North American championship
Yeah,
qualified through.
Angel got 3rd that year when it was a Tahoe.
We'll see about
So-
Utah. We'll see if
Yeah, Utah's that's it. It doesn't
shows
happen
up?
at Utah. This is going to be a local West Coast race.
I feel like this is a good discussion piece for next week.
Jeez.
BK, what we got on TRP?
None of your business.
My business.
You're not
I
gonna
gave you
listen anyway.
I gave you
We
a
just
plug
we
on-
just released one that talked about our worst runs we've ever had.
just like not races, just like runs.
Poop involved.
Yeah, there was one
Okay.
race story, but the rest were just like the worst runs we've ever had experiences in our life.
I mean, where does your the poop incident with the homeless guy? Where's that? Where's that?
That wasn't a
rank?
terrible run. It was just a bad half mile at the end.
Okay.
His night got a whole lot worse, but mine
That's
got
so
better
sad.
the moment I let that out.
So bad.
All right, that's nice.
Yep.
And you had Joyce on.
We had Joyce last Friday.
I gave you a plug on RMR. I was like, look at
Oh,
listen
yeah?
to that. That was the only time it's ever going to happen.
Yeah, Joyce came out to your camp, right?
Oh yeah.
She just
Coming again.
continued her streak. She's PR'd every race she's run for the last like 2 years. She's
trying to
40.
get Hyrox.
And she just cut 4 minutes off her Hyrox.
Yeah, she's rocking.
And in a month or 2 ago, she ran her first 100K. So she's just like, she's crushing it all.
Grinder. She's a grinder.
She's a dog.
Rich, one other thing. I stayed with Mark Engelhorn
Oh, nice. Really?
blast in the past. Yeah. Yeah, he
Sweet.
was saying
How'd
good
he
things
do?
about. He ran the Beast on day 1, and then did the Super, and I think a couple laps of the Sprint on day 2. I'm
Is
like,
he training for an ultra or something, or just he's just out there living?
it's just out there, likes the venue. I'm like, I think he's 57 years old and just running a marathon with 10,000 feet a game. Like,
yeah,
crazy.
lots of enthusiasm. He's a great dude.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, he and Matt were real cool to hang out with.
Anything else we got? Nope.
About it.
We did it. Nice job, fam. All right. We'll talk to you guys soon.